Mike Bako joins me now from New York City. He's a sports editor at thedailynational.com. Mike, great to see you.
Good to see you, Elaine.
So we learned of the organizing committee's decision not to sell tickets to the public in China. Most seem to understand this is due to the pandemic, but what does this mean for the athletes other than keeping them healthy? They're going to be performing without the energy of the crowd, but is it perhaps less pressure on them?
It'll be a different type of experience. I think back to covering remotely the NBA bubble when they played the entire playoffs and NBA finals inside of basically empty arenas. And there was a different vibe and a different atmosphere. Some players kind of lost their intensity off of that. Others were able to hone in on, just their shooting ability and not having any of those outside distractions. So I think you're going to see some athletes excel in this, and then others who thrive off of it. If you think about if you are a figure skater and you hit a great routine, or in the middle of your routine, you have a big flourish or a big jump, that's something that you feed off of the crowd's energy. You know that you hit it. You know that you're doing good. That could propel you to higher heights. When you're thinking about concentration sports, some of the outdoor sports, downhill skiing, the jumping sports when it comes to the skiing, the fans not being there, they're not an integral part of that experience to begin with. But when you think about team sports like hockey and some of the other sports, some of that atmosphere will be missed.
What do you think the expectations will be for viewers, the fans like you and I? Will it look the same on television? Will it look the same online? What do you think will be the first big test here?
I think we had that first big test with the Summer Games in Tokyo, a pretty similar experience. Certainly the Summer Games have a different feel and a different popularity level because there are so many more participants on the U.S. side in those particular sports. They can relate to them a little bit more. But from the winter sports, what you enjoy seeing is almost a travel log of a particular city and nation when the games are being played there. And you see that and you experience that through some of the venues and the crowds that are there. So we did have a test run with the Tokyo Games. Viewership levels were down, interest levels were down. Obviously, so many people are dispersed in terms of their interest and ways that they're dealing with the pandemic right now. So I think that we will miss that, and I think viewership will suffer from it, and I think interest will suffer from it as well.
Mike, how do you think the Games will spotlight China in terms of logistics and the management of this massive event?
Just the fact that they've been able to pull off now 2 Olympic Games basically within about a 15-year period is a monumental undertaking. It showed how well they handled the first go of the 2008 Games in Beijing, keeping up their facilities, having so much of the infrastructure in place, so many Olympic venues, so many World Cup venues. Once the event is gone, within 3-4 years, some of those facilities are in complete disrepair. So it's a testament to Beijing and the Chinese authorities that they were able to keep up these venues. And then just thinking about how popularizing they've made the winter sports, upwards of 300 million participants, $80 billion in revenue that's been grown over the last decade or so. It's been a really high priority for the Chinese government, for the Chinese Sports Authority, as well as for the organizing committee to have buy-in from the Chinese people as well.
Right. You and I have talked about the growing popularity of ice hockey and the skiing, snowboarding. What do you think we'll learn from these games, and what are you most interested to see as this all sort of shapes and unfolds in the next 2 weeks?
I think the thing that we're going to learn is just how closed of a loop this system is of the Olympic Games. When so many athletes came for the Tokyo Games just over the summer, there were some incidences of people testing upon arrival. There's certainly going to be stringent regimen of testing once you arrive, 21-day quarantine if you're not vaccinated. So I think once we get past that initial hurdle of all the athletes arriving, the opening ceremonies that will be tamped down a little bit. Certainly that's another thing that's missed when you don't have fans in the stadium, is that pageantry that goes into having 80,000 fans from all different nations, all different walks of life from around the world participating in those opening ceremonies. Some of that will be lost as well.
Mike Bako, always great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.